Hi everyone, good afternoon. We'll get started in a minute. Guess there he is. Hi Francis.
Hi, how are you? Boy, hi Thomas.
Um,
Francis, feel free to share your screen.
take us off.
So, boy, let me know. I won't be able to see when Niajiri Lillian joins the call.
Will do. I'll let you know. She's not here yet.
Yeah, maybe around 2:20, maybe in 20 minutes.
Okay, no problem.
And Boye, can you also add Jelle as a panelist, please?
Of course. Welcome, Billy. You're now a panelist.
Hi, Yele.
All right, I think we're all set. We've got quite a few people in the participant list already. Feel free to get started.
Hi. Everyone is, everything's set, right?
Say that again.
The participant they can hear me or something.
Is everyone? I can hear you.
Okay. Maybe just to get a sense that the participant can hear me. Maybe anyone any of them can say hi or drop a note or something. So we can get started.
I'm dropping a message in the chat. Say hi.
Okay, I can see.
Okay, so a few hands up.
Oh, great. Okay, we can get started. Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. And good morning if you are in that part of the world, or good evening if you're in that part of the world. But here it's this afternoon, and it's actually a holiday here. So for the ones celebrating Happy Eid, um, we are happy to be back again for another call for Develop Ventures for Tanzania, and I am glad to also be anchoring the info session for today. And I would like to uh, welcome my colleagues from the DEG and from VC4A. So they will introduce themselves and then we'll get going. So I'll start my introduction, then I'll hand over to VC4A, then DEG. So I'm Francis. I lead investment programs at Ennovate Ventures, and uh, we've been supporting implementation of the program here in Tanzania locally since 2023. And we're really glad to also be here and be speaking about the program to some of the potential entrepreneurs that are looking to apply for this cohort. So I am your local touch point in case in any points in the application process you have any questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to us over this period until June 30th. So I'll hand over to this for A, then DG, and get started.
Yes, Thank you, Francis. And you might want to go to the next slide or two. Welcome all. Thanks for making it even today, which is a special day for all involved. So wishing you Eid Mubarak. Great to meet you all. VC4A is the implementing partner for Develop Ventures, not only in Tanzania, but also in Rwanda and Kenya. Yeah, we're very much keen to meet with you and hopefully be able to help you to set your company up for success. During today's session, we will talk more about what the program entails and what are the main criteria. But I hope by now the chat is also enabled, so please use it and drop your questions there, so we can get this meeting as informative as possible for you. Good luck to all with your application. And my main trick is to not wait till the very last moment to submit your application, but do it as soon as possible. Jelle, over to you.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Francis and Thomas. So I'm Jelle. I work for DEG Impulse. DEG Impulse is a subsidiary of DEG, and DEG is the German development bank. So we are implementing this program together with VC4A and Ennovate. I'm really happy to be on this call on your public holiday. Hope to see a lot of your questions. It would be great if you maybe can say, hi, I am this, and your name and the name of your company in the chat. It would be nice to see who's there today. Yes, I'll give it back to Francis. I'm sure that there will be questions later on, and I will hop in then. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jelle. So we get started. Please, as we continue to make, it's more like conversation as we continue to have this session ongoing. You can also drop your messages in the chat box, and also you can be able to hold on to some of them at the end of the presentation. You have enough time to be able to ask some questions. Most of you probably have come across Develop Ventures before, or maybe it's your first time. We're really happy to have you on board on this info session. So for Develop Ventures, Develop Ventures offers catalytic, non-dilutive capital, expert guidance, and also good opportunity to young companies that are looking to scale their innovative solutions in a market like Tanzania. Mainly for Develop Ventures, from what we've been doing with the program for the past 3 years or so now, you look at the portfolio in Tanzania is really made up of companies that are really solving solving challenges within the ecosystem, either through different sectors, but they've kind of stood out in Tanzania as some of the leading companies that are really driving impact at scale. So that's more of like the DNA type of the kind of companies that Develop Ventures look at for. They have the opportunity to scale its innovative solution, and also it's commercially viable. And for Develop, it's not just about the funding. For me, it's also the important aspect of technical assistance, where you have the expert guidance, is for me is one of the most important component of the program. This is the team that leads the Develop program. The program is managed overall by DEG Impulse, who are the program owner and implementation partner across 3 markets that Thomas has mentioned is VC4A. So they support the implementation in Tanzania, in Rwanda, and Kenya, and also Ennovate Ventures is a local partner here in Tanzania. These people you see are people that have been working with companies to scale in different markets, especially from the DG team. and also Vis4A team having a regional coverage and regional impact, supporting companies, mobilizing capital, and also with Ennovate, with a blend of our local knowledge and experience working here, makes the team very robust and very powerful that they can to support companies coming out of Tanzania. A bit of develop, like I mentioned earlier, develop actually is designed or is created to support young companies that have innovative business models to create positive impact at scale and also improving living conditions in markets. For now is Tanzania. And one of the things that it's really a checker for develop is that you have to be post-revenue. That means there is a market traction and which shows the proof of concept in terms of what we are building. And also there are other financiers or investors that are also very convinced about what you are building, and they are also willing to commit. Either they've committed or are willing to commit up to 100,000 euros in matching fund. So what do you get for develop? Develop offers a non-dilutive capital of 100,000 euros, which is kind of intentionally supposed to help you in your scale-up operations. And also, you can be able to maybe potentially also qualify for a Phase B top-up funding. You also, beside the funding, you also have opportunity to receive very tailor-made technical assistance. In this part, it is uniquely designed in a way that the develop Ventures team work together with the entrepreneur to really kind of understand some of the bottlenecks in your business, in your challenge. It could be on the finance, investment readiness, any part of your business that's actually having some frictions. Then we work together to be able to identify a sector expert that then supports you to really resolve those frictions. So that is one of the hand-holding features that you get if you make it to join develop portfolio. The program is currently available in Kenya, Rwanda, Tanzania, which is implemented by DEG Impulse, and also in Ghana and South Africa, which is by then implemented by GIZ. The program structure, the program across 3 markets is owned by DEG Impulse, who work directly with the German government in implementation of the program. And Vis4A supports implementation across 3 markets, Kenya, Tanzania, and Rwanda. Then to offer local context and support locally to the program, Vis4A works with local partners. In Kenya, they work with Investia. In Tanzania, we're working with Ennovate Ventures. And in Rwanda, they're working with Impact of Kigali. So at this point, the partners you have at the local level also play a key role in providing local context, engaging directly with the entrepreneurs, and also be able to answer any questions you might have at the local level. So anytime within the application, Ennovate Ventures team are always happy to engage with you. So far, Develop has been around since 2019. And I will always say, especially in Tanzania, Develop, I would say, is the most active program, creating a very strong and quality pipeline for other investors to invest. And that is really kind of evident from some of the results that Develop has really achieved over the years. Since 2019, Develop has released about 11 calls, which has attracted over 3,000 applications. And out of that, Develop Ventures has financed about 100 companies, young companies. And out of that, 38 of them has received Phase B funding. In total, Develop has committed 50 million euros in funding to these companies. And also to look at that, when I mentioned about the providing quality pipeline for investors, you will see that post Develop Ventures commitment, these companies have also gone ahead to raise more than 48 million euros in investment. So this is what makes Develop to stand out in most of the programs, because maybe, for example, in Tanzania, when investors are coming into Tanzania, the first question they ask is that who is in the portfolio? And you will see that most of the companies in developed portfolio has gone ahead to raise follow-on investment. It's easier because you've got like credibility from developed ventures, and the documentation process you also go through helps you to kind of improve quality of your investment documents, and it makes it easier for investors to come in. So that's really very evident. If you're a founder in Tanzania and you've come across any of our portfolio companies, you will actually be able to see this in real life. So what we look at for, I think this is also a very critical aspect. People ask most of the questions. So here you'll be able to know exactly the initial criteria that you have to meet before you start applying to develop ventures program. The two main things are, one, you must have achieved proof of concept. That means you have paying customers. You are making revenue. Ideally, you have repeating customers, and that shows that there's a demand for what you are building. And another aspect is that you must have investors that are also committed or believe in what you are building, and they are really willing to invest in your business, or they've done initial investment. So that is a key criteria for you to be able to unlock the 100,000 euros from develop. So you have to be able to, for you to receive the 100,000 euros from develop, you have to be able to unlock or bring in another 100,000 euros from other investors. And out of that 100,000 euros, you are required to bring from other financiers. At least 50% of that, which is 50,000 euros, has to be a fresh equity, an equity investment. Then the other 50% can be a blend of loan or grant, or just grant, or just loan that is actually not a very high interest rate loans that potentially can harm your business. At this level, it's always ideally good that if you have received this external investment 6 months prior to this application, that could be great because that can count as a matching fund for you, or you are already in a very concrete stage of speaking to investors and they are willing to invest in your business in the next 2 to 3 months. That's also a good signal for you to be able to apply to develop ventures. Other conditions is that you have to be able to generate revenue. You have not received more than 2 million euros in funding to date, and you are locally registered as a private profit-oriented company in Tanzania. So your company should be registered here locally in Tanzania, and you have already at least one audited financial statement. So that means you've been in operation for at least 1 year for you to be able to have an externally audited financial statement. You should have a very strong and viable business and financial plan. Also, be seen as maybe one of the category kings or category leader in your sector within the country, and also have a very clear direction on how you want to scale your business and operations across the country or even beyond, and also have very significant impact indicators showing how you are contributing to the SDGs. So these are the major criteria or initial criteria that you have to meet for you to be able to qualify for develop ventures program. So when we talk about the matching fund, of course, develop ventures is a matching fund. So when we talk about the matching fund, you can actually, when you go through the application process and you get approval from the develop ventures investment committee, you will also have to bring in the 100,000 matching fund. And that is the only way you can be able to unlock the 100,000 euros from develop. So develop, we can sign a contract, but develop will only be able to release that 100,000 euros when you have shown an evidence of you bringing in the matching fund. So for the timing, as I mentioned earlier, is if you raised funding in the last 6 months, let's say from December to now, from last December to now, you've raised some sort of capital, that can count as a matching fund. But if you also are speaking to investors and they're already committed and they're willing to invest in your business in the next 3 months, that's also a good signal for you to apply. So that means when they disburse the money, you can bring the evidence and show to develop. If you qualify, then you can actually be able to now get the 100,000 euros from develop. There are some other sources that do not qualify for matching fund. One of them is your sales revenue. So your sales revenue cannot count as a matching fund, and also in-kind contribution or founder sweat equity do not also count as a matching fund. One thing that you can actually be able to get being in developed portfolio, which I've seen over the years, is that credibility or de-risking measures that investors actually now have a very strong confidence looking at your deal. The way investors speak to companies in developed portfolio is quite different from when they are going to start afresh, because they believe in the credibility of developed ventures, and that actually gives the founders within the portfolio that smooth ride when they are speaking to other investors, and actually drives credibility. And in long run, it has actually helped them to raise more money from other investors. So the timeline, the process could take between 6 to 8 months from application to money being in your bank account if you get selected. Currently, we are in the first stage, which is the application stage, which runs for about 6 weeks. Called opened on 15th of May and is going to close on the 30th of June. Within this period, we always advise that we also re-echo what Thomas have said. We always advise founders not to wait until the last day, because anything can happen. Internet, connections, you might miss out some information. So we are always recommending that you start your application. If you have not started, the best time to start is today, so that you can be able to gather your thoughts together. You can gather your documents, you can gather all information, and also have enough time to review. You can do a peer review with your colleagues, with your advisors, enough time to make sure that you are putting a very competitive and quality application. Because if you wait until 29th of June, you might, send a very scrappy application, and that might not, with that, you might not be able to go through. So it's always important to give yourself enough time so that you can be able to adjust, reread, and see that you've put in the best foot forward in your application. Then application closes on 30th of June. And every year we have 2 calls. The first call is this one, which is from 15th of May to 30th of June. Then there'll be another call, which will be from 15th of November to the 31st of December. So those are 2 calls, the 2 windows that we have for developed ventures. Then in the step 2 is the pre-selection, where the team does this reviewing your initial application against the criteria and the quality of application, and get to shortlist companies that will go into the next stage of the pitching session. So this is done between June and from July to first week of August. And the people moving forward will be informed of the next phase, and people that do not qualify for it will also be informed. Then on the stage 3, which happens around September, is the pitch session. Within this timeline, we also start working with the companies to start developing the initial data room, where they can put most of the business information, from business descriptions to a draft financial model and other information, speech deck and other information that are required by developed ventures. And you also get opportunity to have a preparatory call ahead of your pitch interview, where you have 1 hour to spend with the jury and the ventures team to be able to answer some questions that they could have caught from the review of application, and also gives you opportunity to now, convince the jury and the ventures team why your business is the best to put through to the next stage. I'll also be able to mention that Develop Ventures is a very competitive program, so we'll always expect you to, when you have the opportunity of 1 hour, you want to really position your business, hit the right things that will make you stand out, so that you can be considered for the next stage. So upon completion of the pitch interviews, the ventures team will also review alongside the jury to be able to select the companies that will go ahead to the physical due diligence. At this stage, which happens in the week of 15th of October, the ventures team will be on ground to have a 1 full day physical due diligence to the company selected. So here we want to actually be able to meet the team, understand more in detail about your business, your financial model, your plan for scalability, be able to also speak to some of your customers to understand, the value you're creating, the opportunity to replicate what you are doing, and also the general idea about your business. So this gives the ventures team a better overview while meeting your partners, your stakeholders, your customers. And all of this information plus application is then reviewed by the team to be able to now decide which companies move to the next stage, which is the documentation stage. Ideally, at the end of the due diligence week, the companies will be informed if they made it through or not, just to ensure that we are keeping to time and also not making companies to wait for too long. So we try to be as agile as possible. At the end of the week, companies should be able to know if they move to the next stage or not. And then on the documentation stage, which happens between October and November, we work with the companies to now develop their documentations ahead of, which is then submitted to the investment committee. So this has to do with improving your data room, your business description, your financial model, your team, and all of other documentation that are required by the investment committee. And also be able to set some certain economic and social metrics that will be tracked should in case you make it to the portfolio. Then that is then submitted to the investment committee for final approval. Upon approval from the IC, you get your contract signed. And if you are able to show evidence of matching funds, you should be able to receive at least 90% of your of the funding from develop between December and January. So that's the process. But just to kind of re-echo that all of these stages are really very.
Francis, apologies for interrupting, but given we are already halfway, great if we can speed up a bit, also to give Lillian enough time, but even more to give the audience enough time to ask questions. We've received quite a bit already.
Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm just going to give it to Lillian shortly. So this is a process, and until you get approval from the IC, that's when you can actually be able to, get a confirmation that you're in the portfolio. So this also shows the dynamics and the diversity across the portfolio. Develop Ventures is sector agnostic, but also very deep in terms of the innovation and impact that these companies create. Some of the companies you might already know in Tanzania, they are part of the developed portfolio. Have Heady Seaweed, which has also recorded more than 300% their production capacity. You have Slimify also has the opportunity to kind of expand into new regions. And also you have Imara Technology being able to use the funding to bring in technology that kind of improve also their margins and also increase their sales by 30%. So all of the companies that we have in the portfolio have very incredible stories to talk about the experience and the value that the portfolio has created, the program has created for them. So we will have Niajiri. I don't know if Lillian is here, which is a member of cohort 8 of the program, to give us a glimpse of like her experience being part of the portfolio, and what has been some of the things that she got or benefited from the program. Lillian?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Francis. Hello to everybody aspiring applicants for the develop cohort. As introduced, my name is Lillian. I'm the founder and managing director of Niajiri platform. So the story with Niajiri and develoPPP, we were gracious to be part of cohort 8, 2024 late application, so 2025, that's when it came through. But that was not necessarily our first time that we had started applying for develoPPP. I believe that was possibly like our third trial. And so that is also to tell you, you have to put up the hard work to keep up and share your progress. So how was that particular journey? And I'll start it off from when we did the application and we started going through the processes that Francis was taking you through. get ready to put in the hard work, honestly. And it is hard work that Francis mentioned something. It's also about where you are as a company and where you want to take your company in terms of the next phase. I am grateful that found develoPPP, or develoPPP found me just at the right moment when I was starting to relook and really look at my numbers. The jury really puts you to the corner. I remember Yele is one of the people who looked at my numbers and is like, your numbers need some working on. So really, when you come into the develoPPP cohort, the process, getting in, you have to make sure that your numbers, your documentation, they're proper. So start getting those things ready as you're starting to do applications right now. Now, the fact that we even got into the cohort, the journey has been amazing. Honestly, between think of like as advisors, or not necessarily advisors, as Francis again has placed it, it's kind of like a stamp of approval. Right now, we are reaching out to other partners, and when we go in and we're like, oh, we have develoPPP as part of our funders, you have more credibility of being listened to, of somebody responding back to you. I have a live example of one of the investors that we've been looking at for a couple of years, and literally they came back to me when I was like, oh, we have develoPPP on our portfolio right now. So this is something that comes with you being part of the cohort. But not only that, there is technical assistance that we were able to unlock. And that technical assistance, again, you have to be very cognizant of what your company needs to get you to that next level. And so for us, we're really saying that we're in a space and we really want to relook our business revenue model so that we really do expand. So we were able to get an amazing consultant who really got us thinking, and not only it was literally open for the whole team. So we got the team engaged, and that's also another thing, if I can ask as founders on this call, that you take on this particular journey not as a lone team, a person of one, but really engaging your team members, because that's when you get the best, and that's when you'll get the most out of the whole program. And so, standing here on this other end, I definitely can say I am grateful that I did apply and I did finally make it to the cohort. And there's this other element of it, that you get to be in a group of, if you watch superhuman titles, whatever, the Marvel comics, etc., like you get to be part of that team or that crew. There are possibilities of us as Niajiri, as we're scaling up our product, we literally look through our cohort members, our other cohort members, and look for partnerships. So that is the validity that you're getting. So it's not just the before, but it's the during, and you continue walking that journey. So it's up to you as a founder, as a managing director, of what you want to achieve. Literally, it is you being very clear, and develoPPP will take you there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lillian. That's really precise and very valuable. I'm sure most of the people on the call already got some of the things you've shared. And thank you for your time. I'm sure I brought out of holiday. I'm sure you're a fan, of course, you are at office. So yeah. We'll continue. And we have the last slides. Thank you, Lillian. I'll have the last slide, and we'll just go into the question. So we've mentioned this across the presentation already, why it's important. I think I can overstate it. Lillian has kind of mentioned it directly. You get 100K that is non-dilutive, very catalytic, and also bring that de-risking credibility for investors to want to look into your fundraising. You also get like support you need to really kind of reconfigure or rethink some of your business strategies and set you up for scale. You also get to be in a network of doers, entrepreneurs, investors, ecosystem enablers that can actually now be part of your journey as you continue to scale. So in Tanzania, we have the most active portfolio, and it's going to be like a very strong privilege for you to be part of this kind of network of very amazing founders, and you get to share, learn, and be able to build together. So these are some of the reasons why you should be able to get excited to want to apply. And we look forward to receiving your applications. The links will be shared with you or have been shared with you. Otherwise, you can actually scan the barcode, and you will get access to the application directly. I'll leave this for a moment while if people are going to scan, while we start taking the questions. Thomas, do you want to, should I open the Q&A questions? Okay.
Happy to help.
They have opened it. So the first one is, if we have no equity sharing, are we not eligible because we are self-funding our ventures? Yele, you want to take the questions?
Which question are you referring to, Francis?
Where are you?
Nabil Martin.
Chat.
You see my screen?
No.
No, you're presenting still the.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go to Q&A. Is there Q&A? It's got Q&A.
Okay, I see a question from Farida. Can the overdraft facility from our bankers be considered as matching funding? Usually loans don't count as the matching funding. So I don't know the ins and outs of your overdraft facility. But for the Develop Ventures program, we are mainly looking for equity funding. This can be also in the form of safes or convertible debts. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so the other question is, if we
maybe
have...
can I add one thing to that? So,
Okay.
so yes, it needs to be equity. In the minimum, what you said, it needs to be 50% equity, 50% loan, but it would be a term loan. It would not be an overdraft facility. Maybe what you use for a day or for a week for your business, and then give it back. So it would be for a term. It would be for a regular loan. But as to repeat what Thomas said, our preference definitely is to do the matching funds completely with fresh equity. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah. Maybe Francis, do you want to move to that one slide about the matching funding, because we're getting quite some questions about it, and maybe again to explain to you why is Develop Ventures actually looking at this. So first of all, as a reminder, Develop Ventures doesn't fund pilots, no projects. The main aim is to invest in companies, and that is why it is so important that we're looking for equity investments. There is a reference of the 50%, so we can be a bit flexible. But again, the highest chance for successful applications are if you have raised a minimum of 100,000 euros in equity in the past 6 months, or about to close in the next 3 months after your application. The next question from Nipa L. Martin: if we have no equity sharing, are we not eligible because we are self-funding our venture? Yes, that is correct.
So except they are open, if you are open to raising money or you're speaking to investors already, then yes. Otherwise, you might not be able to qualify, Nepal.
Yes. The next question, if a business has already conducted a pilot project, operated for about 9 months and generated small-scale revenues, but does not yet have several years of financial history, can it still qualify for the program? I guess we partly answered that as well. Again, we are not, of course, you can use the funds partly for to fund a project, but we are looking for investments into a company.
So I think what the question is from Florian is, okay, I'm not old enough yet, is it? Because that is how I read that question. I'm not old enough yet. I don't. So once you have an audited financial statement, you might have started 6 months into the financial year and got a first financial statement for the first 6 months. Then you technically could, in that sense, for track records, it might be enough. That's how I read it, Thomas.
Yeah. Then Gordon Day, we have received investment from 2 investors. One investor made a deposit on November 20th, 2025, and the other December 4th, 2025. Are we still eligible? Look, I mean, we're not gonna put you on the fence for 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, I would highly recommend applying.
Yeah, there's one from Yusuf. We have not received external funding. We were initially bootstrapped up to this stage. We are currently on talks for receiving external funding. Yeah, so for this one, if you're already in the in-depth discussion with the investors and you see that they have a keen interest to commit to investing, at least in the next 3 months, then you should definitely be able to apply. Yusuf.
In your application, be specific on your fundraising efforts at the moment and where you are in the process. If you said we are currently in talks, as you put it here, that's fine for now, but in the application, give us more meat on the bone to understand where you are, how many investors, how much, and your most realistic timeline. And where in the process you've got a team term sheet, or you don't have a term sheet yet, or you're negotiating the final contract, something like that. Thank you.
Then John, I've been doing business successfully for 2 years, and I want to shift from personal to company business. In short, I want to legalize my business. Sorry. I have proof of transaction and customers. Do you also fund this?
When I ask, then for John, I mean, what is the difference between a personal business and a company business? Does it mean it has not been registered for those 2 years? So if your registration, let's say you register it today, then it's difficult for us to because you've not been in the system. Then the track record that you did on personal title would not count. It is the legal entity that is registered in Tanzania. That track record would count. So it depends on if you were registered or not, I think. Francis, what do you think?
Yes, I think what I understood from this, from the question is maybe he's running as a sole proprietor, and he has maybe if he's yet to formalize as a company, then he has to be able to do that and run for like another year. Then he should be able to qualify.
Yeah, because I don't think there will be, unless there are audited financials of the personal business as a sole proprietor, which is also possible, then maybe. But if there is no audited financials, then not yet, as what you said, Francis. Yeah.
Yeah, Gordon, convertible notes counts as well.
Yes, certainly.
So Charles, my company is dealing with urban planning. It has more than 5 years, but haven't accessed external source as grant or equity. Can we be eligible?
Shall I take that one? I mean, Charles,
Yeah.
there is no. We don't want to push people to start taking on external money if you don't need it. If you are having a company that's running and you build it up yourself and it's running for 5 years, fine. It is not the type of company that we can invest in, because our mandate, as explained by Frans and by Thomas, is that we need to crowd in our funding needs to be catalytic to crowd in other private funding. So you would need to start fundraising, get external shareholders, start a board, make sure that you and have the whole governance of that, if that is the route you want to take, then after you've done that and after you've raised money, or when you are close to raising money, you could apply. If you're not thinking of that process, which is also fine, then develop ventures is not going to work.
Okay. Then another question is, does the matching funding need to be allocated to a specific project or activity within the company, or can it also be used to support the company's broader scaling and growth?
It's a very good question. So maybe to explain, no, it's the latter one. So this is not project finance. So as a lot of other grants, and some other grants as also DEG does, where it's project finance, where the company does its business and there's a specific project for which you apply for grant funding. This is company financing. So it is for your broader scaling and growth. Now, you could determine that with the 100,000 you raise and the 100,000 from Develop Ventures, you want to scale in a new area of the country, or you want to further develop a certain business line, of course, but that is that's your normal decision. But it's often it pays, the use of funds can be salaries of your tech team if you're a tech-enabled company. It can be going into working capital if you're working with working capital. It can go into capex, into machinery. So a lot is possible.
Yes. So the last question is from Baraka. We have applied for Fungua funding. The result will be out on 30th of June. Can we say apply? So Baraka, Fungua is one part, which is a grant. So you also need another part, which is equity, at least 50% of that. So ideally, Fungua alone is not enough because you also need an equity funding of to 50,000 euros. If you've applied to Fungua and you are also talking to other commercial investors for equity, then you can apply. But just Fungua alone wouldn't be enough. You should also be speaking to commercial investors for equity.
Shall I take the next one, Daniel? So yes, convertible notes are definitely their quasi equity. They are with us in the equity bucket. So be it a safe note, be it an old school convertible note, those are considered equity for us. They definitely count.
Yeah. So what? Since you already raised 100,000 in Q1 this year, so you're already eligible. That should be enough to count as a matching fund.
Yeah, so Q1, so quarter one, you said, okay, is it a bit long ago? But no, it will be okay. Yeah, very likely. Especially also put in your application also that you're further raising. You will disclose that as well. Then I think it should not be a problem.
So, Jelle, there's one. If I was operating as a business name of my trading company for 10 months with financial records, then close the business name and register the company and operate for the past 5 months, are we still eligible?
We would have to see. I mean, we would have to see what is the business, what are you doing, what is it. You would not be able to show an audited financial statement, so likely not. You could still try. Okay, you are not allowed to say. You could try your luck. You could fill this in and explain your specific case where you are changing. But if the business operations have also changed in a way, for example, it's definitely not going to work because we don't acknowledge track record in a different business line. So you might, if everything else lines up and you have raised 100,000 euros in equity last month, and you said, I had to change the business name because of this investor coming in, wanted to formalize the business, maybe there's a case. But I cannot give you, but no guarantees. It will depend on the whole picture, if there's a logic why you changed.
Yeah, and maybe just also a bit about the nature of your business. If you are a trading company, and I'm not saying this is a simple business model or anything, but usually we are very much also looking to a more innovative way of you doing business. So I would highly recommend you as well to have a look at the portfolio page that I shared in the chat, and to also better understand in what type of businesses we already invested. I'm not saying you should replicate that model, but it gives you some sense about the level of innovation we are looking after.
All right. There is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's another one. If just to confirm, as a sole proprietor registered in 2022, can I register a company this month and apply if I got an investor, or must I wait for till next year?
I don't think if you got audited financial, if it's the same business, it's a bit what I said before. If you have audited financials for the last 3 years, and it's the same business, and now you're registering the company, and you get an investor, technically, then you could apply, but you need to have those audited financials. And if there is a change also in business, what I said before, I'm repeating myself, it would not fly. So all these exceptions where you are, when you are really in the gray area or actually not fulfilling the criteria perfectly, then there's a high likelihood that we would have to drop it.
All right. Another one is quasi-equity considered as a matching fund?
Yeah, this is about ownership. We appreciate local ownership and foreign ownership, but local ownership needs to be formalized. So if you say yes, my friends or put money in, but if it's not in umbrella, and if it's not formalized, we can't see it. Then becomes difficult. So if there, for example, has been an investment done, local investment, a local investor has invested, it needs to just, if the BRELA long form is up to date, then that's the same as for a foreign investor. That's fine.
Yeah. So other one, quasi-equity, does it qualify as a matching fund?
Yes.
What makes up the instrument? Yeah?
What is this person? So quasi-equity for us, okay. Quasi-equity for us is a safe note, is a convertible note, is not straight equity. But quasi-equity is, so it's not on the debt side. So it's not a revenue-based loan. It's not a term loan. It's not working capital loan, and of course nothing on grants. So quasi-equity for us is equity, but maybe it hasn't got a certain shareholder percentage because you haven't decided yet on the valuation of the company. So, and 95% of the time, this would be done nowadays with a safe note.
All right. So the other one was, so Yusuf, every year we have two cohorts. The call opens 15th of May to 30th of June, and also 15th of November to 31st of December. So if you are looking to apply, maybe after this year, the timeline of the windows are always the same. Okay. How many grantees are there on average per round?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the question from Baraka was also the 50% of the matching fund that has to come from an equity investor. Can that investor be an individual investor or a VC firm? Yeah, so it can be both. It can be angels, or organizations. And then, indeed, how many grantees are there on average per round?
What is grantees? Is it the number of
How many people we select?
Yes.
That's a good thing. I think we might end up from a call with between 4 to 6 companies.
In the end, it is all about quality.
Yes. So, but normally we end up there somewhere, isn't it? So, and there would be, of course, the funnel there be a selection. Some will fall off, and then there will be 50, then there will be 20, and a number of them will be visited. I think you said it as well, Francis. Everyone will be visited. Due diligence will never be closed without physical on-site due diligence.
Yes, so anonymous attendees. So if the nature of business is the same and you have audited track records before you transition to become a company, I think you can be able to apply so long as the business is the same, and that also reflects in your financial records. There's a lot other question. Once a grant is awarded, how is communication and follow-up typically managed between the organization and the grantee? Yeah.
That's primarily you, Francis. So how is communication and follow? I mean, this portfolio. So when the grant is
Yes, the portfolio.
So it's by email. Plus, we are in town. We're in Dar twice a year. Of course, I mean, Francis is always there. There are 2 portfolio events where we meet, which are not mandatory, but you see all your peers. And there will be communication by email and by call about technical assistance. Sometimes a normal call or WhatsApp call.
Yeah, so Gwak is asking if the fund was invested through the holdco and then subsequently wired to Tanzania as equity into Tanzania operation company. Is that fine?
Yes.
Right.
And
so
same
Gwak, that
for
works.
same for other holdcos. We've also had Delaware Constructions. But maybe here important to explain about the match funding is that, so for us it's very important that match funding has hit your account, but also that in the case you already opened the application form, you will see that there is a question about use of funds. We need, if you for us to wire the money to you, we need to have proof that investments that you got, or the 100,000, has already been spent in the country, or at least on the company. So that in a way that we can reimburse those costs, and that now that you can spend it also on other expenses.
Yes, so I think those are the questions. There are no other questions, and we are on top of the hour, so I'm not sure there will be other questions. But of course, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us. Thank you, Yele and the Beneficiary team. For people on the call, we are Ennovate Ventures are here locally in Tanzania, so we are always open to supporting you through the process. In case you have any questions, you can always reach out to us anytime. I will go back to this. So before I end the call, you can pick out the emails. My email is there. You can write me email directly if you have any questions after this info session or any clarity. We are more than happy to support you in this process. And we look forward to receiving your applications. And just to reiterate, don't wait until 29th of June because internet might go off. So it's important that you start the application today and you have enough time to look at your application, improve it, because as Thomas has said, quality is what matters so much. So we expect to see interest, your receive application, and we look forward to keeping in touch. Thank you very much, everyone, and hand over to Boy.
Good luck filling it out.
Yes, good luck with your applications, and hope we can work together.
Enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay. Good luck. Bye bye.